Hello, my name is Ashley Glaze. Today I will be covering the emotional, social, and trauma domains. Today we will discuss how trauma affects the classroom and how it affects our students. So, what is a emotion? Who feels emotions and why? So, an emotion is a conscious mental reaction. So, that mental reaction can be anger, sadness, or even happiness, and is also subject to experience as a strong feeling. So, emotions are often developed from the time of birth up until death. Some would say that emotions are developed in the womb before birth. So there are more than 27 different types of emotions felt throughout your lifetime, and they are often adaptive emotions, so emotions that can consist of happiness if you're in a happy environment. So you may be at a birthday party for your child or someone you know, and oftentimes those around you will be experiencing emotions of happiness, or you could be at a funeral and you can only guess that that emotion that you're feeling is what everybody else is feeling, which is often sadness. So, what is trauma? Who experiences trauma and why? So, trauma is a disorder or behavioral state that often is a result from severe and emotional stress or physical injury. So, with trauma, it comes in many forms. There are generational, sexual, emotional, death, and physical traumas. So, trauma does not discriminate against race, age, social status, or anything along those lines. So, often those who suffer with trauma have triggers or flashbacks. So, things like war, natural disasters, visual experiences, or car accidents, and even childhood traumas are often a trigger for trauma to be experienced. So, trauma has three different levels. So, those levels consist of acute traumas, reoccurring, and complex traumas. So, emotional traumas in children. So, those traumas can be experienced in and out of the classroom. Oftentimes, traumas from home are carried over to the classroom. So, these traumas can cause emotional regulation issues. So, those issues can be angry outbursts, fear of certain things or people. And oftentimes, as educators, you may notice or have a student that has a fear of you, and oftentimes that fear is not a result of you being scary or anything like that. That can be from a child that has been abused or hurt by a figure that is in a authoritative state. So as a teacher in the classroom, you can be viewed as a figure of authority. So when a trauma is experienced in children, it can remain hidden for years. So it can also be unresolved traumas, things that happened and just were never talked about or swept under the rug. And emotions in children um, can also be a cause for them feeling left out or singled out because those emotions are so high that they may isolate themselves from their peers or become withdrawn from the teacher, even have sleep problems like insomnia. So, the emotional social domain side effects. So, being withdrawn. So, a child being withdrawn is also a cause for the emotional domain. Shyness, unable to speak up or be timid, which is kind of a fine line because some children just are shy and very timid and haven't experienced any emotional traumas. So fear, humiliation. So sometimes children will not participate in things where they may be subject to possible humiliation. So going to rehearsal with friends, being on stage with peers, children may shy away from that. So frustrations are a sign of emotional and social trauma. So feeling irritable in situations that may not be so irritable to others. Low self esteem, so your child or student may become very self aware and notice that, hey, my friend that didn't have new shoes yesterday has new shoes today, but I didn't get any shoes. So that can be a cause for low self esteem, and sickness is often a trauma response. So things like nausea, vomiting, and urinary and bowel movements can be an effect of social and emotional trauma. So, social and emotional trauma are closely related, and often the closeness of those two are caused by the close emotion of emotions and socialization. So, emotional trauma in the classroom can be undetectable but noticeable by social cues. Students who often experience emotional traumas in the classroom can begin to develop symptoms. When a student is experiencing emotional trauma, it's important to encourage help and to talk to the child. Um, when emotional trauma is experienced, it is important to be considerate of the child and others around the child, and also know that if these emotional traumas remain undiagnosed or untalked about, that it can carry over into adulthood, leading to things like drug abuse, sexual abuse, amongst others, and even mental issues and abuse in their relationships. Thank you.